Welcome to Smash Right. I'm Paul. This is Justin. And today we are bringing back a list that we did back in 2019. We haven't done volume 2s of some of our ideas.
So this was back when it was just the podcast. Remember doing podcasts only?
Yeah, this is a real original idea. So we waited 4 years to do this as a volume 2. Today we are talking about our top 5 Final Girls, volume 2.
Well, signaling an airplane to come down.
What made you want to do a volume 2 on this particular? Of all the lists that we've done, this is our first volume 2.
Well, Final Girls is something that's so embedded and embedded into the whole culture.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can always look back and revisit and see, like, how much changed. Did something change? Mine changed.
Mine actually changed as dramatically as well. Some stayed, some got added, some moved down the list.
Yeah, some fell.
Yeah.
My 10 through 5 was Alexandria from Wishmaster, Jamie Lloyd, Sheree Gelman, Ellen Ripley, and Lisa Wilcock.
So we have...
Alice from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5.
Okay. Just by any shot in the dark, do you remember your original 5 from the first?
I know that my number 1 was Sydney.
Okay.
And I think Alice from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5 was 2 or 3.
My original list literally had there's 2 of them on this list that were on my volume 1. There was actually a couple from Friday the 13th, and
Yeah.
I took them out and
Yeah,
put their places in. Jenny, I think was
Jenny
one.
was on mine. Jamie Lloyd was on mine.
Jamie Lloyd wasn't on mine. So let's not keep the fans waiting. All
No.
30 of them.
You started.
Okay, I gotta say that, I watched the Alien series inconsistently, but I know enough. Ripley, survived space. How awesome is that? You're up against an alien, like, crazy. And,
One of the toughest aliens in fiction, right behind the Predator.
yeah, so, I mean, what did she die? How did she eventually, the character die?
She didn't.
She didn't?
No.
So, look at that. She is sole survivor of the strongest alien. What can you say about
She wasn't the sole survivor. I think there were 2 survivors in Resurrection.
Okay. Either way, she held her own. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't go against that. She was played by a great actress.
Well, she did technically die in 3. I guess she threw herself in the molten metal. But they fished her out and cloned her and made more clones of her, and then we finally
Made her even
in
stronger.
Resurrection.
Made her even stronger.
Well, yeah, she had Zeta blood in Resurrection.
But she was still a human. She still survived. That's my number 5. Your number 5.
My number 5 is a tie. That's how I roll.
Justin
Yeah.
makes these rules and then breaks them. He just wants to break his own rules.
That's why I do. I form rules and then I don't follow them or forget them entirely. Sam and Tara Carpenter from the new Scream movies. I love those 2 as a teen. I couldn't narrow down to which one was which. I'm just going to both of them. They're both played excellently. I really love the direction of both of them. The fact that they just beat the hell out of whoever. Especially in 6. They were getting stabbed in the mouth. The one guy got stabbed probably 50 times. And I almost shot in the head and Sam's like, oh, looks like you lost another one to the dad. It's like, that's fantastic. That's wonderful trash talking.
You went hard.
Yeah, I went hard in the series for a little bit here.
Yeah, you really did. Ugh. My number 4.
Well, it's really hard to narrow them down. Like, between them and number 4, like, which one?
Yeah.
Give it more time, and then might actually flip.
I mean, I mean, obviously, there's ever volume 3, yeah, because a lot can change from now until whenever. But my number 4, I didn't have her on my original list, but from the time we did the original list, I'm talking about Laurie Strode. I think I know like the Halloween series is played out with this character, with this whole Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, and I'm glad it came to an end to where it's finally done with. However,
I think I remember us talking about Laurie on the last list, and
She was-
she'd be in my top 25,
yeah,
maybe.
but now I put her on here because after 2018, 2020, 2022 film, whatever. Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends.
Those movies sank the stock for you.
I did because even though there's a lot that we can argue that didn't make the series good, I think she kind of brought like a new element to the Final Girl.
A bad one, kind of.
Like her going after the killer, her killing the killer, like.
Yeah, Ellen Ripley did that so much better, and Linda Hamilton did that so much better.
What classifies as a final girl though? Like, is it in the genre of
That is
horror?
a fantastic question, in which I have no answer.
That's
Well, Terminator 1 was more of a horror movie than Terminator 2 was.
true. But either way, I think I seen another element where she is still broken, but she's strong, and then she goes after the killer, and
H2O.
H2O as well. Like that's another element. Then so there's like a bunch of films where she's now flipping the switch.
I think H2O was a better use of Laurie than anything they did in the new bunch.
Yeah, I agree with that because I don't know. I think it's different perspectives. I do think H2O is probably Laurie Strode's at her best, but I still seen different elements of Laurie Strode in the new Halloween series. Because of that, I'm giving her props where she should have been on the list the first time.
I thought she was on your list.
No,
Oh, you have your list?
I actually have my old list, people. So, no, she isn't. I had Alice Hardy from Friday the 13th, Nancy Thompson from
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street, and I actually only had 4, and then I had 2 of them are still on my list.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. But that's my number 4.
Alright, my number 3 is Mia from The Evil Dead.
No, you're number 4.
Oh, my number 4?
Yeah.
Oh, I jumped ahead. My bad. My number 4 is
Surprise!
Sidney Prescott from Scream. We're staying in the Scream franchise for one more round. Hard to argue. She was my number 1, so you can tell she fell off the list. She fell down the list. I didn't think that'd ever happen, but it did. She's a I mentioned it in our last list. She's a revolving tank of a human being.
Yeah.
I loved it in Scream 5 when she's just shooting the door first and then opening it.
I heard something. Pop, tap, 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 tap.
Come out. Boom, 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 boom. Telling the killer I'm bored and hanging up on him. That's wonderful. Again, wonderful stuff.
The 90s.
That was the last Scream 5. What are you talking?
Oh, okay, yeah. My number 3. I think you can't get any more scarier. You're talking about aliens. You're talking about psychopath killers. But what about demons? Christy caught.
We both went demons for 3.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I have a new idea for next Halloween, next October films. But Christy Cotton from the Hellraiser series, she was in 1 and 2. I mean, the demons from hell, you survive once and then you do it again in part 2.
Yeah.
What? I mean, come on. Like, the psychological behind the mindset, everything. Talk about being broken, and from the whole story concept of dealing with her family and going to hell and all of, literally going to hell, and made her come out, you know, complete. She was played by Ashley Lawrence. I thought she did the role just right. Hellraiser 1 and 2. Final girl right there.
Oh, I jumped the list already. My number 3 is Mia from The Evil Dead, played by Jane Levy. She's one of the ones who has the rare honors of playing both villain and final girl. And she nailed it at both. She's awesome as the demon Mia, and she's great as ass kicker Mia. She's got a hand trapped under the Jeep, and she ends up ripping it off and getting a chainsaw hand that way. Lovely stuff. Fantastic all the way through. We need more Mia in Evil Dead. I'm serious. Come on.
He is serious. Like, just.
I will not leave this alone. I will be 95. And just more Mia in Evil Dead.
Oh my God.
Paul will be dead.
I probably from being self-inflicted by hearing this. Yes. My number 2, keeping it in the Halloween series, is Jamie Lloyd. I think the character of it being such a young girl going through this is a unique element in my eyes. You look at everybody, at least on my list, like definitely look at Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. She's literally like 11. She's like what, 11 and 12 or something like. No, even
She's
younger.
probably younger than that.
Yeah. So you have to factor in now she's going up against this train of a Michael Myers.
Frankenstein monster.
Yeah. And well, all these other women that we have on our list has at least some knowledge, whether they are on the younger side. There's nobody younger than Jamie Lloyd. For her to be this young and go up against Frankenstein's monster, as Justin said, just can't imagine if she was like, I know they killed her off in The Curse.
Because they made every wrong choice in Curse. Every terrible thing happened in Curse.
Everything you could think they could go wrong, they did. They decided to do it. Because there's no way from her experiences with 4 and 5 that should have happened in 6. They messed her over. Jamie Lloyd would have been built as a stronger final girl if they could have built another franchise around her. Danielle Harris, being such a young actress at the time too, she's embedded in the horror culture as well. Like, there you go. That's my number.
You know what though? I watched Curse before I watched any of the newer Halloweens.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's a spicy take, but I would.
That's an extreme spicy.
Or I'd watch Resurrection before I watched any of the newer Halloweens.
Oh God, that's tough for me to say. I can't answer that question right now.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Please.
My number 2 is Naru from Prey. Now I know, it's not exactly a horror movie, but a big giant alien with weapons and invisibility hunting you down should classify. And Naru was fantastic ass kicker. And her name is Amber Midthunder. And I did that almost just to say that name again. She's a wonderful character, wonderful development. Facing off against something devastating, something that...
Her intelligence level was off the roof, because you think about, like, she always wanted to learn to be like a hunter.
Yeah.
And her being a woman, and then, like, she had to really come to grips with, like, you're thrown into combat now. Like, you've been wanting this, but you never really got the training you need, but you were still smart enough to do what you needed to do.
She's going against an enemy who is taking out everyone in its path. And she has had to watch and learn and study and then put all of that into action. That is incredible use of mental intelligence against a greater force.
That is true. That is true. My number 1, is Sidney Prescott from the Scream series. I think the emotional damage that this girl went through, and to keep rising above and above and above, from her being the innocent schoolgirl dating the badass hotshot, and then
well, she was innocent, but she was also mentally broken in a way because she's still traumatized from her mother's death.
right, and then you get in part two when she's thinking that she's fully recovered, her past comes back, and then it just seems like as strong as she keeps getting, she just can't escape the past, and then you go into 4, and it's now like life should be good. All the past is gone. They're left behind, and now you got your little brat of a cousin who, in her own messed up head, wants to be famous like Cindy. Now it's a whole different type of trauma that she's dealing with.
That's why you take out family before they can take you down. That's from Justin.
This is why Paul has kids and a wife and all this and that. And Justin,
I have snakes.
yeah. But I still think Cindy overall is a strong Final Girl character, definitely in modern times. Give your number 1.
My number 1, are you surprised?
No.
After the list last time.
Yes.
It's Dina from Fear Street. I love the character growth. She wasn't very likable in part 1. Was it 1994? I think it was. She was upset, and you understand why she was upset. She was angry and taking her frustrations out on everyone else. But then she needs to save her girlfriend, and she grows and she emotionally evolves to the badass, taking on these supernatural powers and forces around her, and contending with the witch and all these zombie monsters that are raising up. Hell of a ride, hell of a character. Ass kicking 101 from Dina, making her the top Final Girl in my book.
And that is our first idea. That is a volume 2. Now, I was just literally thinking about this. Why don't next year we talk about Final Girls, but the best Final Girl of each decade?
Yeah, we can do that.
That's a good twist on, instead of just doing a volume 3, we'll do a different a spin-off.
Well, I wouldn't do a volume 3 after a year. It would be like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But we'll
we
do
can,
by the decade. That's a great idea.
all right. But until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.